Hi YouTube, I am live today and we're talking about feminine commitment. If you guys will bear with me for a second, I'm going to share this out. Of course, YouTube has done a complete number on the dashboard and I can't figure this out. They've changed everything. Okay, I guess we're not going to be sharing a link because I can't figure out what they've done. Customized channel, I don't know. So supposedly, I used to be able to see the video and the comments live, but let's see. Here we go. All right, so yay. Okay, now I can see your comments. So let me know how you guys are doing. They've, of course, changed everything. This is so different. All right. Welcome in. So today's video was inspired by this post I had created in my High Value Worthy Woman Facebook group on why I personally think that there is no purpose or benefit of being someone's girlfriend if what you're looking for is marriage. And I mean, of course, I guess in certain circumstances, it could make sense. It's if you're in high school or you're in your early 20s and you are not looking to get married, you're not looking to for something long term, you just want to be in a 1 to 2 year, 3 year relationship and you're just having fun and that's where you are in your life, then I guess it would make sense for you. But when it wouldn't make sense for you to be someone's girlfriend would be if what you really want is commitment and marriage. Because a lot of women kind of fall into this trap where they become someone's girlfriend, and just because of the way that the female brain is wired and our unique chemistry and hormones, unique when it comes to, versus the male, we fall into like auditioning mode. We're seeking approval, wanting to show him what a great catch we are, and we're wasting a lot of time trying to prove our worth. What we really want is commitment. So in that sense, it makes absolutely no sense to become someone's girlfriend. And I think the concept of dating, what it is and what it means in the US, needs to be revisited for a lot of people. And I think that the ways the Eastern world works when it comes to dating is way more beneficial and more practical and more it's more suitable if what you're looking for is marriage. So that's where a lot of this work comes from. So when a couple of people wrote in saying, well, what do I do now? I have committed to becoming someone's girlfriend and your post really resonates with me because I see myself doing all of the things that you mentioned in that post. So that's what we're going to be discussing in this video. And say hi if you're live. Hi, Sandy, Universal Journey, Royalty, Chelsea. I'm going to just take a second and share this out in my private Facebook group, and then we'll start talking about feminine commitment and what to do in that scenario if you find yourself in that scenario or any other scenario where you may have committed to something and for whatever reason you need to uncommit yourself from there. And I can give you a real life example from marriage as well. All right, so I was talking to one of my private clients a few weeks ago, and she's newly married, and she was in the process of setting some budgets and different various things with now her, with her husband and with her children that are coming in from her previous marriage. And one of the things that really kept coming up for her was, if I commit to this, what happens if I change my mind later? Like, is he going to hold me to this, right? Like, am I stuck? And one of the things that I really want to understand and get is that feminine commitment is very different than masculine commitment. And again, I always end up giving this disclaimer. Yes, duh, obviously we both have masculine and feminine energies, but if you are 90% of the female population is more like core feminine energy, even if you have been conditioned out of that through culture and society and your wounds or traumas or whatever is going on in your life, your core is going to be primarily feminine energy. This is true for about 90% of women. So feminine commitment is a little bit more fluid and in the moment and more going with the flow than the typical, a man's word, or you got to commit to this now, like you're all in, that type of situation. And yes, there's a time and place for that too in every woman's life, but I want you to honor the season of life and the authentic truth of your present moment. And this is going to be the core of what we're going to be returning to in these various situations that I will use this in. So feminine commitment, your first and foremost commitment needs to be made to yourself, to honoring yourself and not abandoning yourself, because the level of commitment that you make to your truth and who you are at the core, beneath the surface conditioning, beneath the culture, beneath the habits and the patterns, the core of what you really feel inside, and that's the inner work, right? Getting through the layers to that. The core of commitment that you have to that is the level of commitment that you can give to your children and to your partner and to your work and to your community and to everything else in your life, because that's what gets mirrored back. So one of the biggest, I guess, step number one is discovering that within you underneath all the surface level stuff. Secondly is settling it within you first. So let's give an example. Let's say that you have committed to become someone's girlfriend and you're stuck in girlfriend mode, in the girlfriend trap, I call it, for 2, 3, 5 years. And you see it going nowhere, and you have been auditioning and showing him all the wonderful ways in which you can be the perfect wife and the perfect mother and the perfect housekeeper and the perfect business partner and all this wonderful stuff. The first layer of this will be getting beneath all of the surface level stuff and really knowing what you want. Do you want to be someone's side chick, someone's girlfriend, someone's I'm half in, half out for the rest of your life? Really being able to look past that and get past the so what's wrong with being a girlfriend? Everyone goes through these stages. Get past the social conditioning. If you can first accept that what you really, really desire is to be wife, is to be in a long-term committed relationship, forever relationship, right? You don't want to be girlfriend. If you can own that first within yourself and then settle the energy around it. What do I mean by settling the energy? If you are not okay with something 100%, many times you end up transferring the charge that you have, I'm not 100% sure I can get this, or I'm not 100% feeling worthy of this right now. If you don't settle that energy within you, you end up transferring that energy onto other people. And the example I like to give of this is that for those of you guys that are in a relationship or ever have been in a relationship, have you noticed that when you go up to your partner and say something that you're unsure of, even if you pretend to be really sure of it, they tend to be kind of wishy-washy around it too, and they may be like, no, that's not a good idea, it's going to be so much work, or that's not going to work out. But if you have really owned something within you, you're like, no, I'm going to do this, and you own it within you, you want it, you desire it, you know you can do it. When you go, you can use the exact same language, and it's like, they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, we should definitely do this, what can I do to help? It's because you weren't coming with any energy of half in, half out, or I'm sure, I'm not sure, or I want to do this, but I'm not really committed to it energy, right? When you can do that and settle that within you first, then when you go to someone, you transfer that positive charge and the positive energy. So what to do if you have committed to be someone's girlfriend. One of the girls under the comment under my post wrote, "What do I do now? Break up with him?" I'm not here to, you know, you need to figure that out for yourself. Like, I'm not going to tell you who to break up with or who not to break up with. And if that's the first go-to that comes to your mind, then maybe there's some other stuff going on. But what needs to happen here is you need to first be honest with yourself that I don't know why I became his girlfriend. Maybe you didn't know there were other options. Maybe you thought girlfriend is the next step that leads to marriage, and that hasn't happened. But what you need to do is get honest with yourself, settle the energy that it's okay to not want to be someone's girlfriend forever, that girlfriend doesn't really have any, it's not a real thing. Engagements, like you're dating someone, dating multiple people to figure out, you know, get to know them, see if they're a good match. And then there's an engagement, and then there's a marriage. This is how it works typically in the Eastern culture, whether that's through arranged marriage or seeing multiple people. But there is a purpose to it. In sort of the American, like Western societies, we've gotten away from that, and which is fine. But it's like gotten really confusing because what most people want is, especially if you're like, I don't know, over 30. You want something long term, but you think that the only way to get it is to date one person at a time, become their girlfriend for long periods of time, and then it may lead to marriage. Well, women on the Eastern side of the world, like in Eastern cultures, they used to think that the Americans or the Westerns were really lucky because we were getting to like try out a relationship and it would end in more success. But it turns out that that hasn't proven to be true, right? There's just as many hardships, just as many triggers, just as much inner work needs to be done, just as many male-female differences. Maybe the problems are slightly different, but not really. In my work, I work with both people in arranged marriages and in Western cultures of typical dating and relationships and all that, you know, all that jazz. It's like the same stuff happening. If anything, arranged marriages or relationships that had quick engagements or short like dating phases seem to be more robust, which you would think that it would be the complete opposite, right? And I think one of the key things here is that factor of like commitment, like a girlfriend status. If someone's okay with you being their girlfriend, or you're okay with being someone's girlfriend for really long periods of times, it typically signals that both of you are kind of like half in, half out. That commitment is not really something that you have settled within you, and so that mirrors back in the relationship for years and years and years, if not decades. Even if it eventually leads to marriage, it's kind of this like half in, half out kind of thing. Of course, this is not true for all relationships. I'm speaking to the masses here, right? So individual situations vary. So what to do if you have become someone's girlfriend? Settle it within you. Know that there's other options, and you gently go to him and you downgrade the relationship. And what do I mean by downgrade? I know that sounds like a really negative word, but it's not. What you do is you say, you know, there's not something I need to discuss, and you own your truth without blaming him. This is not a how come you haven't married me conversation. This is not the conversation. The conversation is that I know I agreed to become your girlfriend. And I'm going to backtrack for a second. Sometimes you haven't even agreed to become someone's girlfriend because they've never asked you. You are just assuming that you are his girlfriend because you've been together for 2 years. So this is another thing to settle within you. Go back to the time where you decided that you were his girlfriend. Did he come to you and say, let's be exclusive? Did he say, hey, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend? Or it kind of just led to it, and you just assumed that you were his girlfriend. You started calling him your boyfriend, and you assumed that the natural course of marriage was around the horizon, and it never happened. So this is another thing to be super, super honest with you guys, with yourself. Because sometimes when I ask people, how do you know you're his girlfriend? they have no answer. They say, well, we are exclusive. We see each other every weekend. I'd say, did he ask you for this? Well, no, but you know, we just hit it off and we started seeing each other. Well, then you're not really his girlfriend, right? You're kind of in this in-between thing. To him, the way that the male brain is structured and the way that he's living his life based on his hormones and the way his brain processes stuff, you may be someone that he's just passing his time with. You may not even be his girlfriend from his point of view. You are going to be surprised at how many people I have talked to, women that have had relationships where they thought they were someone's girlfriend and they had never met the person. It was a texting relationship. They had never even spoken to him on the phone. The female brain attaches itself way quicker and faster. The timeline is really different than the masculine brain. The male brain works really differently. So you may be thinking that you're someone's girlfriend and you're not, that's great. Which means that for you, it's really easy to downgrade the relationship. All you have to do is you start having a rotation and you start dating multiple people. So what is dating? Well, let's talk about that in a second, but quickly I want to share with you guys a few things. One, I have 2 spots left in my Fire, Flow, and Feminine Flavors immersion that's happening in Florida in early August. We have 10 women that have signed up. I want to take on 2 more women and take a group of 12, 13, including me, and we're going to have a fabulous learning spiritual girls trip in Florida. We have women coming from all over North America. So it's going to be amazing, from all different walks of life, a lot of inner work, a lot of deep going inwards, peeling off layers, feminine flavors, feminine energy, manifestation, magnetizing, amazing work. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. We still have 2 bonuses. The payment plan bonus is still available, early bird special. You're still getting a free bonus of my Manifesting Miracles and Magic program that's launching in September. I have the link in the description box. 2 spots left. Grab it. It's not going to last. The 10 spots went really, really fast. Second thing I want to mention is that I'm currently enrolling for the Sacred Feminine May Intensive. That's a 3-month online only intensive. And then you also get 6 months of additional support after that. This is my deepest inner work, spiritual intensive. You go all in, peel off the layers, deep inner work, and it's a lot of fun. We do a lot of different things in there, shadow work. We do feminine energy work in there. We do feminine flavors. We do feminine womanhood wholeness work in there. See what parts of the woman is missing in you so you can reclaim that. All of that is linked in the description box. So what is dating? If you're in high school or your early 20s, then dating may be a little different for you than what I consider mature modern dating. What I mean by mature modern dating is you're a woman in the 21st century and you're dating because you have a goal. And your goal is to call forth your true love, your real, true, spiritual, conscious partner in life that you want to spend the rest of your life with. You're not messing around. You're not going to shack it up with him and see how it goes. You really value yourself. You value your timeline, you value your boundaries, you know what you want, you're a modern woman, you've achieved a lot in your life, you've worked hard to have what you have, and now you want to share your life and your magic and your femininity with your reciprocal partner. And because you're not fooling around, you're not looking to do the typical date one man for 20 years and then see where it goes thing, right? Date one man for 5 years and see where it goes. Dating for you means that you're going to be actively dating multiple people, 10 men, 20 men. Dating doesn't mean you're sleeping with every man. It means that you're going to do coffee dates, hiking dates, lunch dates, dinner dates, activity dates. Maybe you go on a cooking class or painting class or something, and you spend short amount of time with different men to see if you have a connection, to get to know each other. Getting to know each other for you doesn't mean that you're going to become someone's girlfriend and then get to know them. That's actually one of the worst ways to get to know someone. The best way to get to know someone is to date multiple someones and see where it goes. Why is dating one person at a time the worst way to get to know someone? Because of the unique way the female brain is wired and the way that our hormones work, unique to the female body, it's very hard to get to know someone when you're only with one person, because you will attach yourself to them and get ahead of him in his timeline. The male timeline and the female timeline is very different. So you will get ahead of him. And if you're only with one person, you're sleeping with him, you have different hormones that are, releasing because of that, you're going to overlook all of his red flags, all of the things that make him not a good partner for you. You are going to be overlooking all of those things because of the way that your brain is wired and the way that your hormones are released. So this is possibly the worst way to get to know someone that really serves you after marriage. After marriage, when you're attached and you're having sex with your husband, with your one partner, then when he makes a mistake, it's a really good thing because you can have sex with him that night, have your, oxytocin release, and you can overlook all the stupid little things that we do, and you can stay committed and attached in that marriage. Making sense, right? So it serves us in long-term relationships, not so much before marriage. So the way your brain is wired, you want to be dating someone. You can date them for a year. You can have a rotation of men coming in and out that you're dating. Again, that doesn't mean you're sleeping with them. It doesn't mean that you have your boundaries of things that they have to do to earn different levels. And I talk about this in my Modern Dating Intensive, where you have kind of like these guideposts that they need to cross over to get to certain things, right? Let's say you have a guidepost for who you say yes to on a first date. Then you have a guidepost for how they needed to show up for that first date to make it to date 2. Then you have a guidepost for if they get to pick you up from your home. Then you have a guidepost maybe 3 months down the road where they get to meet your best friend, right? I'm just making different things. This is going to be different for woman to woman. So those are your levels of your boundaries that they need to cross and earn. So you date multiple people until the person that you're interested in or one of those people gives you the level of commitment that you want. Okay, so let's say that you want the level of commitment that you want is marriage. That means you keep dating multiple people until one of them claims you and says, gets down on one knee or whatever, however it's done in your culture. In my culture, my husband had to go and ask my parents for my hand in marriage first, and then he proposed because that's how it's done, right? It's kind of a way of asking for respect. He does that, and let's say that you think that's a good connection. You've been really liking him. He's been a front runner in your rotation. You say yes. Now that means that you call up all the other people, or when they call you, you say, you know what? Guess what? I'm engaged. So thank you so much. I'm flattered. But no, I will not be going on a date with you. That's what you do when what you want is marriage, right? So for example, when I met my husband online, he knew that until he proposed and took me off of the dating market, that my mother, my best friend were going to be introducing me to new people, and that I was going to continue seeing the people that I had in my rotation at that time. Making sense? So the only way that he could get me all to himself was to propose. That's my level of requirement to take me off of the market. Girlfriend that word doesn't exist for me. What does that mean? So if he had a conversation where he said, would you like to be my girlfriend, or could we be exclusive? My question would have been, what does that mean? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. What does that look like for you? Are you saying that we're not going to be married, we're not engaged, but you get to have me and I don't see it, it doesn't exist in my world. So that's what you need. That needs to be your level of entry, your guidepost for what they need to do. Now, many women, when I talk about this in my private practice or in my program, they'll say, well, what if he gets mad? Huh? Like, it's not our job to control someone else's. Can you always control your own emotions? Can you control whether you're going to be mad tomorrow or not, or you're going to be sad tomorrow or not? You cannot control your own feelings and emotions, right? They just come and go, they flow. So you trying to control someone else's thoughts or reactions or emotions, it seems completely ridiculous to me, because you can't even control that in yourself. I cannot control whether my 5-year-old is going to have a tantrum next minute or not. She's going to decide that all on her own, and she's going to decide when it's going to pass. That's just part of her humanness. So if you're with a man and he says, hey, would you like to be my girlfriend? And you say, I'm sorry, that's not something I'm looking for. I don't even know what that means. And he gets mad. That's something that he needs to let flow through him, right? Because that tells you something. Now, what I've seen working with clients is some men are really confused by that, and they do get upset. And then they'll disappear for a week, 2 weeks sometimes. And then they'll call them back and say, are you free Saturday night? And that's their way of saying, okay, well, if that's the only way I get to see you is that you're going to be dating multiple people until someone takes you off the market, then I guess that's the way I'm going to have to see you because I really like you. So then they come back. The ones that don't come back, those weren't your people. Those were not the people that wanted you bad enough to be able to play by whatever rules you have in place. So those are not your people, right? We don't want everyone. We want the one right person for us. So all of the times that people kind of wash away, that's good news, because those are not your people. Okay? Let me check in with you guys. Hi, Belle from Germany. Thank you so much for your good wishes. Yes, hi, Poonam. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Ross. Haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome in. Good. Misty's here. A lot of people are here. Check out the 2 intensives that I mentioned. Fire Flow has 2, the in-person intensive has 2 spots, and Sacred Feminine still has 8 spots left. I know I announced 10 in my Facebook group, but 2 have been filled. So I have 8 spots left for that. That's online only. Okay. So I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Yes. Another thing. So one of the things that I've recently started having my clients do, and we're having such good success in this. I've only been practicing this for a few months with my one-on-one clients, but we've been having a lot of good luck. So I think I may have discussed this in either my paid programs or maybe here on YouTube. Remind me if you've already heard me say this. But one thing that I saw, kind of what coaches were advising in the dating world online, was that don't put the word marriage or the level of commitment that you're looking for in your profile, in your online profiles. And when people would come and ask me about it, that's kind of what I started saying too. But a few months ago, my husband reminded me that I, in fact, had put on my profile and he on his that what we were looking for was marriage. And that's what had, like, that helped us kind of see that we were both on the same page. And that was kind of like a big aha for me. I was like, oh yeah, I had put that on my profile, right? And so I actually called back some of my clients and messaged the dating clients that I had, and I discussed this with them. I said that, I've been advising you not to put that, but I was like, how would you feel if you put that you are looking for marriage? And so we really got to deep dive and see the results that followed, and it was mind-blowing. So the typical reason that coaches advise women who are dating to not put that you're looking for marriage, the M word, in your profile, is the understanding is that you will scare off men, that you will scare off potential men who may think that you're only looking for like a groom, not for him. Like, you just want to get married, you want to get attached quickly, and you're going to scare off people. And this is one of the things that I discussed with my husband when he was mentioning this, that this is why we say not to do it. And he was like, it makes complete sense to me, because from the male perspective, if a woman is really looking for marriage, the first thing that may enter a man's mind is that she's only interested in marriage, not in him. However, one point that I brought up to him really changed his stance on this. And that's when I started kind of advising my clients to play with this. And oh my God, we've gotten engagements in like 2-3 months where women had been like getting all kinds of like random messages from men online. And here's why. This is what the conversation that I had with my husband. I said, you know, because the online world is so vast, there's so many people messaging you. The men that are kind of insecure about that, the men that are kind of like, oh, you know, she's going to be all about marriage. She's not going to be into me. I'm not going to message her. If there's 5% of that going on in him, I say good riddance. Because he is not 100% in. And he is not the strong kind of high value man that can say, no, thank you. I'm not interested, right? So I brought up, when I met Irfan, he had been actively looking for a long time. And he had actively like gone on a lot of dates and met with women. And some women had come on really strongly and he had been very turned off by that. And so I reminded him of a couple of instances that he had shared with me. I said that when you went out with these couple of women and this one particular one that was really like just attaching herself to him, didn't want to get to know him, just wanted marriage and was trying to do anything she could. I said, did that really scare you off in the way that you thought you couldn't handle it? Did it scare you off in the way that you thought she was going to lead you to the altar and you wouldn't be able to say no? And he's like, no, of course not. I knew she wasn't someone I wanted, but he's like, I wasn't afraid that she was going to convince me to marry her. I'm like, bingo. So you are a high value man that's secure, that knows that a woman's not going to lead you or, you know, manipulate you to the altar if that's not what you want. So if I'm putting my profile online and if I'm putting on there that I want marriage, and the men that are reading that profile, if they have the thought, oh, she's only into marriage, therefore I shouldn't date her because that's not what I'm wanting, I want them not to contact me. I want them to be like, this is not for me. Because they have 5% of a doubt, 10% of a doubt, 50% of a doubt, bye. Go find someone that's mirroring your doubt. Because if I'm 100% sure that I want commitment, I'm going to put that on my profile. Because then I'm going to get the reciprocal of the man that says, ooh, okay, this woman knows what she wants. I also want marriage. This doesn't mean that she's the one I'm going to marry, but I can show up on a date with her, multiple dates, and I'm man enough and secure enough and standing in my worth enough that I know that she's not going to be able to manipulate me into the altar if that's not what I want. So when I had these discussions with my clients, they said it made sense. Some of them immediately went and changed all of their profiles. Some of them decided, a few of them said, you know what, I'm going to do an experiment. I like this idea. I'm going to change it on some profiles and not change it on other websites. I said, great. And what happened? What happened was they started getting a lot fewer messages. But that was good because the messages they were getting now were from men that were looking for the same level of commitment as them. And the men that were strong enough in their knowing, in their worth, in their masculinity, that weren't worried that a woman was going to attach themselves to her and lead and manipulate them to the altar. So all of a sudden, we started getting good matches of men and women that are knowing in their level of commitment. They're good reciprocals. Did all of those people work out? Of course not. You still have to get to see that they value, mirror all of your values back, that they are what exactly you're looking for. They match your love list and your values. I talk about all this stuff in my modern dating program. So they match all that. But what we started noticing is that engagements started happening. We've only been doing this for a few months. And because both the people that were showing up knew exactly what they wanted, knew their values, knew the level of commitment, there was no dancing around it. They were dating with a purpose now all of a sudden. They weren't dating just to see what happens. They were dating with a purpose. And so they were asking the right questions. They were looking out for the same value systems. Magic started happening. And I'm so excited to share more with you guys as this unfolds. But the conversation that I had with my husband about this. So this is feminine commitment. Okay, so I'm going to tie this all together. When you commit to something within you, as a woman, know that it is your current truth. Really know what it is for you, not what society is saying, not what everyone else is doing, not what you should do, not what the right thing to do is, what you should be doing. Sometimes what you want to do is not the right thing to do, but that's your truth in the moment. That's your truth. Once you can settle this within you, own up the energy that yes, this is not conventional, this is not normal, this is not what everyone else does, but this is my truth. Own it, release the charge around it, release the judgment around it. Then when you discuss it with people, you're not transferring your own judgments and your own charges and your own like wishy-washy energy to them. And this is true in marriage as well, right? So the client I mentioned, the married client that was doing the budget, and she was like, well, I'm unsure about certain things. What if I change my mind? I said, you will change your mind. You should always be growing as a human being, especially as a woman, being flow and fluid. You're not the Buddha type of consciousness of the man. You are literal fire and flow, and you will be changing. Anything that's stagnant becomes ill and disease and dies. So movement and change is really good. Right? Even, first of all, you're not a statue. And even if you had a statue of a goddess, you'll notice that even the statue changes. It changes colors. It may have chips. It may have pieces that break off. It may have plants that grow around it, right? Even the statue evolves. So we're living, breathing creatures. And yes, we will be changing and evolving. All you have to do is you go back to your partner and you say, if you're dating and you committed to a girlfriend, you say, you know, this is my truth at the moment. Yes, I agreed to become your girlfriend, but this is no longer working with you. You don't blame him. You don't say, how dare you not marry me in 2 years? You don't do any of that. You just say that what I'm looking for is marriage, and that's the level of commitment. I'm not pressuring you. Take your time. I'm going to be expanding my search, and I'm going to be dating other people until the person that's right for me, the person that's meant to be mine, steps up to the level of commitment that I want. That's it, right? He can be a front runner in that pool, and as you date other people. Now, some women will say, well, what if he starts dating other people? Great. Then if he wants to date other people and see if someone's a better match for him, you should encourage that, because until you're really in committed relationships, there's no commitment. A girlfriend is not, it's an imaginary kind of in-between waiting room period. He may be dating other people as anyways, right? You can't control that. So that's something you should encourage if that's what he wants. And if he's meant to be, you need to have faith that he will step up. In a marriage, if you have agreed to something in your life and you change your mind, you go to your partner and you say, in the season and phase of life that I'm in right now, I know I committed to that, but this is what my feelings are right now. This is what I'm looking for. Irfan and I have backtracked on things that we have committed to so many times. I have said things that, you know, little things that we had made a budget and not going to spend money on XYZ. And then I changed my mind and I went up to him and said, you know what? I know I committed to that with you, but this is what I'm feeling now. What do you think? And he will take a day or two and then he'll come back and say, okay, you know, if that's what you want, then we can go buy that or we can go do that. So change, evolve, growth, commitment is fluid, it's flow. You have these discussions, you keep your heart open, stay present, own your truth, resolve the energy within you, and there will never be a problem, because he wants to make you happy, right? If you abandon your truth, everyone abandons you. The world abandons you. He abandons you. So treat it like a mirror. If your truth has changed, then you need to communicate that. You need to own that. All right, ladies, so check out my Fire Flow and Feminine Flares. Before I started this in live stream, we had 2 spots left. I don't know how many are left. I have to go check. And Sacred Feminine Online Intensive. Check it out. I will see you guys later. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me, girls, today. Love you guys so much. Bye. Oh, we have the Conscious Couples Spiritual Communication module tonight. So I'll see you guys in there. Those of you guys that are in that